Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to JT's Mixtape. This is episode number 76. And if you guys are enjoying these podcasts, please give me a 5-star review on either Apple or Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
Come closer, my child.
What's going on, y'all? This podcast is brought to you by Modern Roots Life. Modern Roots Life is a Christian-owned and operated company, and it's bringing real health back to its roots. They offer powerful, all-natural health supplements such as beef liver, cod liver oil, beef tallow, magnesium, and mineral-rich salts, all sourced the way God intended. Clean, simple, and from the earth. So whether you're looking to boost your energy, restore mineral balance, or just fuel your family with real nourishment, Modern Roots Life has got you covered. Guys, in this community, we're trying to get healthy in our mind, in our body, and our spirit. So don't neglect your health. If you want more information, check out modernrootslife.com and check the link in my description. You know, people often ask me how they can support me. Well, I think it's pretty cool if you can support me by supporting the people who support me, and you get something in return. And being healthy is a pretty good return. Well, family, we're all here again. Once again, I got my buddies with me. Demon Erasers, what's going on, Brian?
Nothing much.
And we've got A.A. Ron, To Thy Heart with us as well. No hat, again.
That's right. What's up, y'all? I know y'all loved my hair, so I'm rocking it again.
Proving that he's got hair. Proving the haters wrong.
I just, it just get lazy sometimes. I just don't really feel like doing it. And so that's where the hat comes in.
Yeah, I'm kind of at that place where I'm trying to decide if I want to grow my hair back out a little bit.
Yeah, you should.
So I'm kind of in that.
Not that it looks bad.
I'm in that hat phase. I'm in the hat phase where a lot of days are not good hair days.
Very few people can rock long hair, though. So, if I could rock long hair, I would rock long hair. I can't do it.
I think I like the length mine's at now. I might not. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way long anymore. I'm going to keep it in this length.
I think you should do bangs.
Do bangs. Be banging.
Bangs, just
boy
straight
bangs.
across.
Boy Have you seen those
you can try
pictures
perming it too.
of those kids, those pictures of the squires back in the day where they had bangs?
Gosh.
So funny.
We talked about that before, but I like the monks.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with the monk haircut? The monk haircut where you would it's like a bowl cut, except for
a hole on your head.
They've got no hair on the top.
Brian, you should just perm the back, like a back
mullet, a backwards mullet.
You really should. You should just
Great
perm
idea.
the back of it and cut the front short.
See, that's the thing. I don't have to perm the back because by the time mine starts getting long back there, it can be flowing curly locks back there.
I love it.
But enough about that. So we got some Artemis stuff. I mean, of course,
just three grown men talking about their hair.
The splashdown stuff, so it's Artemis is back on Earth now, and so we can talk a little bit about that. And of course, it's like I kind of hate that, like, the news cycle, the way it goes and the way it goes so fast. But obviously, this week, it's all about Trump, the Trump Jesus meme.
My gosh, dude!
But before we get to that, I want to just discuss this for just a minute because today is the legalized theft day. It's tax day today.
Oh,
April 15th, as we record this. And I remember I made a video about this a couple years ago, and I know a lot of people were talking about like some kind of a tax protest because the government's run by satanic pizza files and they're funding things that obviously don't benefit us, maybe potentially benefit another country more than us. And that idea that, what is our tax money going toward? And when you think about this, and like, of course, one of my favorite video topics is always like the symbolism in things, and especially when it comes to architecture. Have you guys ever seen the IRS building, or at least what's in front of the IRS building headquarters in Maryland?
No.
Wow.
Maybe.
Then this is new for you guys. You guys will enjoy this.
But I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, this is So this is the IRS building in
Oh.
Maryland.
Never seen that one. Oh
Yeah,
my
look at that.
gosh. Those are hands?
The hands, you got the pyramid with like
This looks like
the
the
capstone.
capstone specifically white right there. Oh my gosh, that's human sacrifice. They're literally telling you that we're being sacrificed. What are those hands? They look like from Beetlejuice or something.
Yeah, the hands are interesting because
they're opposite stripes.
You'd almost expect it to be like doing an as above, so below, but like the other hand's just kind of, I don't know, just like an open hand.
Well, they're opposing stripes.
And then you got, well, you obviously you got the black and white symbolism as like the Freemasonic symbolism with the duality. You know, not quite checkerboard, but sort of.
Dude, who thought, let's put this here? Like, that'd be a great idea. Like, who thought that? Like, what? Oh my gosh. I mean, that should wait.
Well, even here, it even says over here. So they got this over here on one of the pillars. The Bill of Rights was not ordained by nature or God. It's a very human. It's very human, very fragile. And this was like somebody named Barbara Jordan, who was some kind of big lib in the Congress. I think eventually became the director of the IRS.
Dude, they're telling us that you're being sacrificed. That's what the pyramid's there for. And that's why the capstone's like white. It's like purifying.
Our money certainly is.
Yeah, bro.
Our money certainly is. I mean, it is funny to think about, like, at least the story we're told of, like, why America became independent of Great Britain. It was like, what was it, like some kind of really small tax on tea?
Yeah.
It was a very small tax that they were, no taxation without representation. So they weren't having representation in, I guess, the British Parliament, but they were getting taxed by this foreign country. And you think about today.
Oh my gosh.
Like how much money, I had to make my, unfortunately, I'm kind of like, well, not unfortunately, Jesus said, pay unto Caesar what's Caesar's. So I'll do my best to legally avoid taxes, but I've got a family. I've got things to worry about. Like I'm not in a position where I'm going to fully just not pay my taxes.
It would require like a joint effort of every single person or like a large majority of people to say no. You know what I mean?
Well, the truth is, I want to say that at this point, the amount of revenue that the federal government takes in does not even pay for the interest on the money that they've borrowed for our spending.
Wow.
So it's kind of a situation like taxes really are only keeping us down. They're really not funding anything.
Question
because they can just print money. They just print all the money. Why don't they print more money and they can just give it to us? Because they don't want us to have money. They want us to be subservient to them.
Yeah, I guess the question is, what is Caesar's, right? Pay unto Caesar.
Right.
What is Caesar's?
I guess as a Christian, it's kind of like that. We want to, God says in His Word that the authorities and the people in charge were put in place by Him, regardless if they're good or not. I mean, and again, part of their job is to punish the wicked. So Peter says that, if you suffer for doing something good, there's gain from that. There's godly gain from that. But if you suffer from doing something that's wrong, it's like, well, God actually put those people in place to punish the wicked too. But at this point, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what's the right way to do it. I mean, I think that, again, I'm just going just based on what just the word just says clearly, because that was literally what Jesus was asked about by the Pharisees to trap him about paying your taxes. And so he says, whose image is this? He picks up a denarius. Whose image is this? Well, you pay to Caesar what is Caesar's. So that's what we're doing. But it is interesting. It is interesting to think about revolutions and did God ordain the American Revolution?
Well, I love the part also though where they're at the temple and they go outside and he pulls a shekel from a fish's mouth.
Yeah, they were paying the temple tax then, and it was that is one of the that's awesome because it's very clear, like that the way I see that is that giving you money is no problem for God. Like God,
He's going to provide, man.
He could bless you with money. Like that's ain't even a thing. Just cast
Exactly.
a line into the water. You can catch a fish and you can pull a coin out of its mouth.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's no thing. So I guess that's the whole part of it is that, no, we don't want to pay taxes, but because we don't want to give up our treasure here. But God has said that giving you treasure here is no big deal.
Yeah.
He'll provide for us. But on that, speaking of Caesar, though, the Trump stuff, you guys want to talk about the Trump stuff while we're here?
Yeah.
Kind of have to.
Yeah, let's show a video about the Trump stuff.
Did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as the doctor, and it had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor, making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better.
How could they come up with that? I mean, how could they come up with such a thing?
Yeah, where would anyone have possibly got the idea that was an image of Jesus Christ as played by Donald J. Trump? Like, who could have ever thought of that? And as we say that, these costumes are going to sell out fast, I'm sure, this Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
The newest doctor costumes. So if you want to get your doctor costume from the Spirit of Halloween, check out this one right here.
I thought it was a doctor.
I mean, the memes are just ridiculous.
Dude,
at this point.
The memes are great right now. That's awesome.
I literally was crying because I was seeing all the memes on X about. Yeah, I mean, I was obviously a doctor. I mean, like, who else would ever thought I was something different than that? So was Trump wrong? Did anybody else get Jesus vibes when they saw that picture?
I mean, obviously, I thought it was a doctor right away. So, I knew what he meant. Sure.
When you get air.
The backlash, dude. The backlash he's getting from the Christian community. It's like they're finally,
dude, right? They're finally
waking up.
It's so epic.
This was it, though.
Yeah,
it took this. It took this for them to stand up and go, this is not what we voted for.
They're like, all of a sudden, they're like, he's the Antichrist. It went from like, praise Trump to he's the Antichrist real fast.
But there is still the MAGA influencers, and I definitely lost some Facebook followers when I shared this, but who cares? This right here.
Yeah.
Point of view. You have to go on social media to defend Trump posting a picture of himself as Jesus. Time to suit up. I mean, some of them.
I want to see that thread.
Some of them still say, regardless, they're saying, oh, well, I don't think that he really meant to present himself as Jesus. He just didn't think about it, and he didn't really think about the implications of what he was doing.
Right.
Dude, what are you talking about?
Well,
that's insane. That's insane,
what,
dude. At his age?
What if I told you I don't think that he was presenting himself as Jesus?
Yeah. What if he was presenting himself as a magic occultist?
Oh, wait. Yeah. What if he was... Because, yeah, obviously you get the Jesus vibes with, of course, the glowing hands as he's healing somebody and angels in heaven, except for that one angel that looked like almost like a Statue of Liberty type light crown and also kind of weird wings. Because I think they showed the original image and it was more like soldiers looking like they were in heaven.
Yeah.
And then when Trump posted his version, it did look like there was some kind of a demon looking thing up in the sky.
Without a head. But
besides all that, yes, he has like kind of the robes. He's got like the red on. And obviously you see Jesus depicted a lot with robes in some kind of a red sash. But when I saw this image, and this was kind of, I'm gonna say, throwback to, I remember Brian and I were doing a podcast with Keep Cool Calvin, and we were discussing that one Taylor Swift video, and she was using like the infinity symbol. And I remember Brian called this almost immediately because we were saying like she had like an hourglass and it turned like this, and we're like, what is? They obviously focused on that. There's something about that. And I saw this image and I was like, oh man,
Yep. There it is.
this right here. So this is a tarot card right here, and it's the Magician. So you see, as I was saying, here's the infinity symbol above him. And look at that. Now,
With
the
the
Jesus
pentagram on the
thing
table.
kind of made sense, but this actually looks way more correct.
No, you're
to
right.
the
what
light in his
Because
hand
the
and everything.
depictions because the depictions of Jesus, he's usually wearing brown.
No, there's a lot with him.
he's not
No,
ever wearing
there's
red.
some of him wearing red.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Really?
saying, like, I don't think it's unusual to see, like, as you saw that Spirit of Halloween thing, like that is something like that what Jesus would wear. But like, even down to like, he's wearing like this collar, almost very similar to this, and that is definitely the same kind of, I don't even know what you call this garb that's
Sash?
in red. Well, the sash would just be more like something you kind of just throw over, but this is almost like some kind of a vest type cloak or
Yeah, like
something.
a cloak.
It's doing the above below stuff with his hands.
And
And-
here's that weird demon looking thing back in the background.
And that's exactly what Abramovich
Yep,
called
the
him,
magician.
isn't she?
Called him a
yeah.
magician.
Isn't that what she called him?
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I also have that video here.
It's really funny how the Lord makes these things work, because it's like he's like allowing us to see it so that you're without excuse. Because the reality is, like, right now, like, a lot of people saw that picture and their spirit was deeply troubled and they knew something was wrong, something was off. But like, that's the Lord giving you fair warning. So that way, when you're brought before the Lord on Judgment Day and you're like, I didn't know, he's like, you knew. I showed you. Your spirit knew.
No, that is like, to me, that is like base level discernment. Like, if your spidey senses aren't going off from that and you don't have discernment over something like that, I'm not going to bash you, but like, something's not right. Something's not right. Like, that's crazy.
It's definitely like a cognitive dissonance where you don't want to see what's plain and obvious.
I agree with that.
I mean, because it's not these eyes, unless you haven't got your eyes checked in a while, that doesn't say that's weird. Regardless of if it was a blasphemous image of him portraying himself as Christ, or he's literally just the magician on a tarot card. Either way, it's like neither of these are good. But check this out here. So here's this clip from Marina Abramovic, or Abrahamic
Yes.
witch, as Brian likes to call her.
The Trump is the best thing happened ever to us, because she believed, not her, but the entire population of this Nordic magician, that he is the magician of the highest order, that he is there in his irrational mind to create confusion in order that the human being can find new order. And it's not so stupid thinking about this in that way. It's completely turning things upside down. Because since Trump is around, things are changing.
Where was the lie there?
The Abrahamic witch says it all. Dude, it's like, it's right in front of your face. Like, it's very, very clear. And it's like, some people, you're seeing this now and your spirit's going, oh my gosh, how did I not realize it? Just admit it. It's okay. We all failed. We all admitted it. A lot of us got duped. We got tricked, and it's okay. You're forgiven.
What do the Q people say right now? Like, what does the Q file say now? Are they saying that this is
They're telling you
this
to
is
trust
part
the
of the
plan.
plan?
Dude,
Trust
you
the plan.
people at this point, bro. Oh my gosh. You can only imagine.
Quick, tell me what to think about this. I mean, it's sad but true, but like, that's what certain people do, is like, ugh, how are they going to explain this? Well, I better go find
Let's go
out
check Q.
to have my talking point of like why this makes even any bit of sense for him to do
what
this.
number is the Q drop that tells you how
Yeah,
to
I can
handle
imagine
this?
Hillary Clinton running Q being like, I don't think I can defend this one, even because obviously she runs Q. If you guys don't know, Hillary Clinton runs Q. But anyways, for
You think
sure.
so?
Well, wasn't it supposedly John
Yeah,
McAfee
until he got taken out, and then
unalived.
Hillary Clinton took over. Yeah, duh. So that whole agenda took over. That's why they ended John McAfee, because he posted something, said a little too much, and then Q's no longer Q. Q's no longer Q. Let's say that.
I mean, again, the whole Q stuff was, again, it's like it's part of like that. It's a deception in the way that there is truth to
All
some of
good
it.
truth has
Like
a
they
lot
were
of lies.
a lot of the people who were in the Q movement early on, they identified a lot of the evil of the deep state, whatever you want to call them, the
Well,
elite
it
that
was
are behind the
fascinating when
guys
it,
behind the guys doing this stuff, the Epstein stuff. Like they identified that. The real problem with Q stuff is that you're looking for this human savior that's always going to fix it all, though. Like, so like that, it's something that allows people to sleep at night saying, "Oof, there's some real dark stuff out here,"
Good
but
thing.
somebody's handling
There's a
it.
good guy out there. There's a Superman.
it was fascinating when it first came out, but it didn't take long. It didn't take long to be like, wait a second. And then when you found out about Operation Trust and how all that stuff went down with the Bolshevik and, just the history behind all of that, it was like, this is literally Operation Trust again. You guys are familiar with that, right?
I've never heard exactly what that is.
Well, okay, so Operation Trust was like way back in the day. It was when they launched a campaign basically saying that there were white hats in the government that were toppling the corruption, that were going to overthrow the corruption, but they didn't have social media back then. So they did almost all this propaganda through
So
posters.
you're talking about in Russia?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
this is during like the Russian Revolution with the Bolsheviks
Correct.
got in charge.
Correct. That's exactly right. And they tried telling all of the people that were sick of the corruption, they tried telling them that they had it handled. And so they created, you can look it up. It's like it's literally a part of history. It's not even like a conspiracy. And they basically said that they were handling it. They had, I don't know if they called them white hats or not, but they basically said they had good military people that were on the inside that were overthrowing all of the bad people, and that they had it handled. Like you don't need to intervene. We've got it all sorted. And they didn't. It was a lie. It was a complete lie. It was just
opposition.
the whole operation was, it was controlled opposition. It was to get all of the people to stand down and not do anything to overthrow them.
Okay, here you go. So I did look this up on Wiki. So this says Operation Trust was a counterintelligence operation of the state of political dictatorate of the Soviet Union. The operation was set up by Cheka, the GPU's predecessor, ran from 1921 to 1927, set up as a fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organization, the Monarchist Union of Central Russia, in order to help OGPU identify real monarchists and anti-Bolsheviks. The created front was called Moscow Municipal Credit Association. Okay, so what it was really about was that it sounds like, I mean, just based on just reading that first paragraph, it's like that they were going to identify the anti-government people by creating this fake counter
Correct.
intelligence organization that was going to say, okay, so we're against the Bolsheviks. So therefore, if we get you into our net, now we know who is on our enemies list.
Correct. That's 100% correct. And how much easier is that nowadays with technology? So that's literally what it was, a campaign to identify all of the dissenters.
Yeah. There's a lot there, but I'm going to go back to what Abramovic was saying. And I guess she was saying was she quoting some other magician or some kind of a
she's quoting
person?
somebody
It
else.
sounded like she was quoting somebody else. And the whole idea, and I've heard this before, it's that Trump is this chaos agent. And, through chaos, these people gain order. Yeah. It's very similar to the Hegelian dialect of problem, reaction, solution. So it's like he's just messing everything up. And it's like, so at some point, you're going to want somebody to set things back in a solid order. And eventually that leads you back into more government, more control, more all this and that. But it kind of makes me think about when Trump came out, and it might have been like on 60 Minutes. It was some kind of a really popular news show. And he said that the people love him so much that he could just like go out on Fifth Avenue and just shoot somebody and they still would support him. It feels like that a little bit. like that all the things he's doing, he's proving himself to be correct about that. That no matter what he does, lots of people are still saying, trust the plan, or they're saying, oh, well, you'd rather have Kamala in there. It's like, no, like, I mean, again, this is a false dichotomy. It's like, no, it doesn't mean we long for the days of Joe Biden, who wasn't even really mentally there, and he was probably Obama's
Somebody
third
commented
term.
that, literally commented that when on my Facebook I posted his photo, and then I just said, hey, just so you guys know, like somebody posted the day before, like Trump is the most amazing God-given something, and I just reposted that photo that he posted, and I said, how's this feel about God-given or something? And then they were like, so you would rather have Kamala? I'm like, is that really the argument that we're going to at this point? Like, come on, dude. Like,
Those are our only options.
who cares? It's not Kamala. It's literally, we don't care. Both of it is false. It's like it's not the argument of the lesser of two evils. This dude is an unhinged lunatic that is bombing and killing children now at this point. And like, I don't know what I just don't know how you can like justify it. Just insane.
I'm pretty sure that are you guys familiar with the show The Boys?
I know what it is.
I watched the first 2 seasons, but I gave up after that.
It's like, I don't recommend people watch it. It is.
I heard it got real woke and gay.
Well, it's just gruesome. It's just it's over the top as far as adult content goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm nothing can change my mind that Homelander is supposed to represent Trump.
That's
no, for real.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
And so that's the whole premise, that he can literally murder people, do the most hideous things, and get away with it. Everyone's still going to love him. Everyone's still going to support him. I'm like, nothing can change my mind that's already how, like, people are already very much seeing him that way. But I don't know, man. I would get into arguments with people because I was fascinated by the QAnon stuff at first. I really was. Because it was kind of hard not to be. Like the whole premise behind it, it's kind of like, wait, what? Like this clicked, and it talked about a lot of stuff that like I had already been talking about with like my brother and friends, stuff that like, you know, got me into a lot of hot water with people on Facebook after like the Clinton email stuff dropped and all of that. Cause I remember my brother sharing that stuff with me, like as it was happening in 2016, like I was familiarizing myself with that stuff back then. And I remember it was I think it was in 2018 when I finally was just like, dude, he's not at all who he claims to be. He's not at all who everyone thinks he is. And like, this is not going to go the way people think it's going to go. And dude, barely anybody back then, especially, was willing to listen to that or hear it. And it's like every single step we've gotten closer. And here's what's crazy about him. And that's that, dude, it really is like magic, because I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I've had conversations with people where I shared those opinions on him and they agreed with me. And then a handful of months would go by and then they're like sending posts or sending articles about him and being like, oh, we really need to pray for him. And like, we really need to, like, you know, I still have hope for him. I still think he's gonna. And it's like, I can understand that. Okay, you're on the fence.
Praying for somebody's not bad, but yeah, that doesn't
exactly.
Mean I prayed for Joe Biden.
No,
not because I was a fan.
Agree.
It's because, you know, you should pray for your leaders.
I agree, but what I'm talking about, like, that was just one example. But like, what I'm talking about is, as time went on, there was a wavering, and I would see these very people that would see these sides of him go fully back on his side and start in like reposting his stuff and like believing in him again and being on his team again. And like, it's like it's so hard for people to break the spell. It's so hard for people to break the spell with him specifically, more than any other public figure.
Well, there's a reason.
Well, I mean, it's probably not too different than like Obama, because I mean that's kind of what I saw from the other side, where they really believed all the hope change stuff that he campaigned on his first time, that he was going to unite people and he was not going to be divisive. He was going to rise above politics. And then obviously he gets in there and he leads like a typical Democrat. And he's beholden to the bankers, Israel, the war industrial complex. He was just like everybody else, whoever was president here. But yeah, that you're right though, that from a Republican side, you know, we haven't had anybody like that. We haven't had that kind of cult of personality like Trump.
There's a reason for that too, by the way. The magic aspect to what you're talking about. Aaron, the thing I would say is because the reality is this, like he is a tricked man. And so when a man is deceived but put in power, there's a power behind that you can't see. So when a person's lying to you, you can tell that they're lying. But when a person is tricked into believing a lie and then they're repeating it, it's like you can't tell because they believe the lie, right? So like that's Trump at this point. He has been tricked into believing a lie. So people are looking at Trump and he believes a narrative, and so they're checking like with their spirit, is this man lying? No, he may be not necessarily lying. He's just so delusionally deceived that so it's like a confliction in their spirit looking at him, trying to determine what is true or false. And this is what I've noticed the pattern is. And the reason why is because right now, Trump is being told he is a prophet. He is a prophet of God by this stupid woman, what's her name? Paula White, whispering into his ear, telling him that he is the prophesied Messiah of the Goy, and he's the chosen one. And he's even said it so many times that he's the chosen one. He said, people keep saying I'm the chosen one. There was a clip where some rabbis put in their pocket, and were recording a few rabbis talking to him, and they were like, Trump, your gematria name works out to this number. It's the same number as the word Messiah. Oh my gosh. And they were like, and he's like, oh, I don't know about all that. You know how he does this stupid. He's like, but maybe, you know, and it's like he's trying to talk it down. He's being worshipped to a point where he actually believes that he is, to the point where he can post a photo of himself looking like Jesus and not even like think that would have been offensive to a bunch of people. He's so delusional to this point where he's like thinking bombing these children and killing these people is totally a part of the plan, and he can't make a mistake because he's the chosen one. He's God. He said that he's the chosen one, and he said the people have told him that he's the chosen one. Imagine everybody saying you're the chosen one. Every decision you make is for the greater cause of the prophecy that is coming about of Israel. And so he's literally believing in this. And so to Marina Abramovich's word, it is chaos, and it's great because what's happening is she's mentioning that he's bringing the chaos, even whether willingly or unwillingly is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. They need someone to bring the chaos to start the problem, because right now everybody's just been going along with the plan so quietly, and it's almost like throwing fire, like starting little fires, and they're like, oh, they're not panicking yet. Throw another fire. Oh, still not panicking. Start another fire. Oh, still not panicking. Throw another fire.
Exactly.
Okay, man, we're just gonna keep lighting these. Now they're over there flicking matches on everything. They're just like boom, boom, boom.
No, they're
boom.
using the flamethrower that I got at a TikTok
shop. Exactly.
Right, you're supposed to burn your weeds with.
Do you remember when we talked about the Prestige?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay,
always.
so remember how at the end, you find out that there's two of them? Do you remember how we briefly talked about the theory that there's two Trumps?
Right.
That he's got a twin? Wouldn't that make a lot of sense right about now? Because wouldn't that work perfectly is part of their magic trick? Because, dude, the way people get gaslit by him, it's like you really do get one of two versions of him consistently. You never know which one you're going to get at any given press conference or any given interview or whatever the case is. Like, there's never an in-between. He's either like this Trump or he's this Trump, and they're not the same.
He seems like he's been consistently the bad Trump this whole time.
Now,
this time around, yeah, it's true. That's
you know what
true.
It makes me think of, though, that a lot of people have compared him to King Cyrus.
Well, that's why they
King
put him on the
Cyrus
coin.
is the one who, after the captivity in Babylon, he was the one who was going to reunite the children of Israel, and they were going to build a second temple.
They have banners of Trump in Israel that say King Cyrus is here.
I know, but you know who he's more like than King Cyrus? He's more like King Saul. Because King Saul was anointed by Samuel, by the Lord, to be the king.
Till he wasn't.
And then when he disobeyed,
crazy.
that kingdom was being ripped from him. And then he had a curse basically put on him that his whole family was going to die. And, you know, it's interesting that, again, people don't get the nuances of God. They want to like say God is this and he's love and the end. But obviously God is just, and some of the things that God does are confusing even to me. Because, you know, it's really interesting. If you go into First Samuel chapter 16. So this is after like Saul has had his falling out with the Lord and Samuel. And so this is 1 Samuel 16, starting with verse 14. Now the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and a harmful spirit from the Lord tormented him. So Saul's servant said to him, behold, now a harmful spirit from God is tormenting you. Let the Lord now command your servants who before you seek out a man who is skillful in playing the lyre, and when the harmful spirit from God is upon you, he will play it and you will be well. So I just think the interesting part about that is the harmful spirit came from God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not saying that the devil sent this demon to him. It was like God sent that demon. I wonder if it's a situation where there's also in the book of Kings, when the story, I want to say, of Ahab is that he's going to make this bad decision. And one of the spirits speaks up. How are we supposed to, like, God has his counsel amongst them. And the spirit says, we'll put a lying spirit in his prophets. We'll put a lying voice in their ears. And so they're going to prophesy this thing to get him to do the thing that will eventually, you know, befall his ruin. And so God, yes, I mean, it does seem like that this guy has got a harmful spirit, could be sent by God to do what he's doing now.
He's
Well,
different.
if you think about
that's
it, though,
for sure.
all he had to do is plague Saul with the truth of Saul's actions, the truth of what Saul had become, the truth of what the things Saul had done, right? He didn't have to torment him with lies. He was tormenting him with the reality of who he had become. That's what was really tormenting him. So it makes sense that God would send him a tormenting spirit, because he didn't have to, it wasn't a corrupted spirit. It wasn't like, all he had to do was show him a mirror of the things that he was really doing and that he had really become.
Well, it's sort of a situation like with the Pharaoh too, though, that the Pharaoh, against all good reason, he does not let the children of Israel leave. And it's God that's hardening his heart in order for him to do that. So like all Saul's motive eventually is this jealousy against David, who is the new anointed king. And he wants to kill David. But obviously it's like all his plans to do that is turning people away from him. And eventually when Saul's killed in that battle, that David is going to be the rightful heir to this throne. And it's, you know, because if Saul was kind of who he was supposed to be, well, then likely it would have been one of his sons would have been the king. Well, I guess he was for a minute and then he gets killed too. But the point is that God ordained that this kingdom was going to be taken from him, taken from his family. You know, because Saul was still king for 40 years. So it wasn't like Saul was king for a short amount of time. He was a king for a long time after Samuel prophesied over him that he was going to have the kingdom stripped from him. So, yeah, I mean, it's a situation where like this evil that he seems to be doing now there's a reason for it. And I think for God's anointed people and God's people with eyes, hopefully it is. And maybe it's just like for those who can see it, they'll say, oh, okay, I'm going to get away from this idolatrous hope in this guy, or this adoration for this man who's clearly like not doing what he promised to do. And he's not doing anything that as a godly person, you would say, this is good. Regardless, again, if he was portraying himself as Christ or a magician from a tarot card.
I got another image of his dual personality. Ready? I'm going to share this one, guys.
Sure. Okay.
Because this one was pretty good capture, I think. This one was a really good one of him feeding Jeffrey Epstein a burger.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, what was the other thing? Didn't he get he got DoorDash McDonald's like that same day that he was saying that he was a doctor?
Man, I don't know, but it's funny.
I heard about that. Like DoorDash came to the White House like with like an old lady. Like they really allow that to happen.
Like, it is like, what is happening?
Like they really allow people to walk up to the White House with the food in their hand.
No, yeah, they had that. It's like the person obviously walked up to like the back door and like Trump comes out and and picks up this bag of
Oh
McDonald's.
my gosh, dude.
It's so weird. It is. It's like from Zoolander when Will Ferrell's like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Am I the only one who's thinking this is weird? Obviously, I'm not the only one, but I mean that everybody's like, this timeline is retarded.
Timeline is retarded at this point, dude.
Okay, so I got a video.
Funny.
So again, to continue on the Trump theme, this was interesting. A lot of people didn't talk about this, but everybody knows that he was creating this new ballroom
The all room.
on on one of the, was it the east wing of the White House? This is pretty interesting.
Talking about how beautiful the ballroom is. For 150 years, they've wanted to build a ballroom at the White House. And other presidents have wanted it. When we have dignitaries coming like President Xi of China or anybody else, we have very small rooms. They're not big enough to handle the kind of capacity that you need. And this is the same height as the White House. It's an incredible fitting. You see what that is, right? Nice. I'll show you. Here's another view. This is coming from right opposite the Treasury building. Beautiful Capitol, beautiful building, and I think it'll be the finest ballroom of its kind anywhere in the world. A lot of people are giving it really good reviews. Some are giving it reviews without even seeing the building, because this just came out today. These pictures we just made today. We got rid of, quite a while ago, the stairs on the south side, and it's become really beautiful. But it matches and fits the White House. It's also capable of handling the inauguration. We have all bulletproof glass. We have drone-proof roofs, ceilings. Everything's drone-proof and bulletproof. And unfortunately, we're living in an age where that's a good thing. And this is the view from the Treasury, opposite the Treasury. Let me see another one of them. Here's a view on the south with the porch, which is a porch, and it's also a fire stair, basically leading down to the grounds. And that porch will be magnificent, looking in between the columns. They no longer, we took the stairs out that were on the south side and really replaced them with these stairs. So you have an open porch and you have the closed porch under the columns, overlooking the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Memorial, and the Lincoln Memorial / Monument. So that's great. This is a view of the columns as they are going to be made. They're going to be hand carved and they're beautiful. Top of the line, there'll be Corinthian, which is considered the best, most beautiful by far. Okay? What's your timeline on this thing? Timeline, so we're ahead of schedule and under budget. And all of this money, all of the money paid are paid by myself and donors. And it's all donors. There's not one dime of government money going into the ballroom. Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. That's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing. The glass on the windows, you see the big windows, the glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass, so all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote, gee, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. They talked about a stairway in the south. We don't have a stairway in the south. That was replaced a long time ago. But this is a view of it from the north, and that's, if you see it, it fits in with the White House. It's almost a twin to the White House. It's something we just wanted to pay tribute to the White House. And so that fits in beautifully. Let me just see another one. Here's another one. Wait, excuse me, wait. I thought I'd do this now because it's easier. I'm so busy that I don't have time to do this. But I'm fighting wars and other things. But this is very important because this is going to be with us for a long time, and it's going to be, I think it'll be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. It's its highest level. same height, exact height of, not higher, same height as the White House, exactly the same height. And if you look, you have the White House over here, you have this, and that's a duplicate of the wall. So it pays total homage to the White House, which is, I think, very important too.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's about it. I just want to get to the part where he was saying that, yeah, like the military's building a massive bunker complex under it. But yeah, it's interesting too. The thing that kind of trips me out is that I'm sure a lot of people have seen this too, that Trump wants to build this massive arch in DC as well, is this thing right here. And so like a lot of people made the connections, like this angel statue that obviously resembles Helios, the Statue of Liberty. It's got like
triumphant arch.
Yeah, it's got the arch. So this is like some kind of 250-foot arch. And
Statue of Liberty with wings on it. It's like literally the Liberty of Satan with wings.
Yeah, well, it's like Lucifer,
Lucifer's flying now,
whatever.
is what that's saying.
But this seems like it's going to take a long time to build. And so like a lot of things seems like he's like what, because obviously Trump's into building as far as being big in construction in New York City and all around the world. But like if they're really going to carve this thing out of stone, which I think is going to be interesting to see like the timeline of how long it would actually take to build. You see how he kind of ducked those questions? What's the timeline on this? Well, we're actually ahead of schedule and under budget. Yeah, but when is this going to be done? I think that's the question that was being asked. Like Trump is
probably knows
only going to be in office for less than 3 more years.
He's probably making some.
Like when is this actually going to be done?
I think he's making some secret law that's like going to be put in. That's going to be like they cannot revoke this. This must be completed, and when he gets out.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying that they won't build it, but I'm saying like that a lot of the stuff that he's really interested in doing domestically is stuff for, monuments for himself.
Yeah.
And like this won't be done until he's out of office.
Ridiculous.
And that's if they don't put legislature in place to stop it.
Well, I mean, the thing is they already demoed that wing of the White House, so I think that they likely will build something there. So regardless if it's what Trump wants, but I think it's interesting to think about, like, considering that we talk a lot about the timelines of these old world buildings in America, and they're built so fast. To see them actually try to build, because those columns, the way that they were showing them, when you see like renderings of people next to them, those are like the ones that you see in those buildings that we often are in awe of. Like if they're really going to hand carve those things out of stone, how long is it actually going to take?
Bro, the thing is, I have no hope that, like, part of me had a little bit of like hope that maybe Trump, we could wake him up. But when you see that kind of stuff, it's like there is no hope, because he can't wake up from this. Because like if he wakes up, he's going to backpedal all these Jews that have been funding these buildings that he's building, and all this, like millions, maybe billions of dollars that they're giving to this. He would have to turn his back on all of these Jews that are like pouring all this money into his projects and everything he's doing. He would have to renounce those structures, and you could see how giddy he was about that. It's just like, bro, like, I don't know if he could even do it. He's so consumed with the spirit of pride. There's no way he's going to back out of this.
I'm telling you, he was bred for this. Like, he was literally bred for this as a child. I believe that his handlers, all the people around him, were telling him and preparing him for exactly what's taking place right now when he was a kid, when he was a toddler. Like, he was quite literally, I mean, dude, if you really look into it, like there's even a bunch of people talking about how he was born. Like he was born under a blood moon. Like the timing in which he was conceived and even birthed into this world, all of it is wild. Dude.
Who said that? Like, who's made quotes about that publicly?
Mentioned that one. I don't know.
You can look into it. Like, there's a lot of information. I mean, listen, like, take it as you will. The only thing I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I can stand on business with is Jesus. Like, the only thing I know as an absolute fact anymore, because the reality of it is all the same resources that we have that we know are lying to us are the same resources that we have giving us alternative information for the most part. So like we can theorize all we want, but there is a lot of data out there that shows. But like, remember the photos I showed you guys of him in his military school, and he was super young, and he's at the very front of the tip of the spear, as they call it. Like, there is a lot of data and a lot of information to point to the fact that he was literally bred for exactly what's taking place right now. He didn't haphazardly end up here. But that's why I've never talked about that, him being birthed in a blood moon, like, because I don't know, dude. I don't know if that stuff's real or not, but there are a lot of people that believe it is. In fact, you'll probably get some people in the comment section giving far more details than I just gave, because they've
all you
gone really
do is
deep
look at his
into it.
birthday and
But
look up what day that blood moon was or something. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
But I mean, he, like, and then you look at his lineage, you look at his family, and you look at like this stuff. Like, he was definitely born into power. He was definitely born into wealth. He was definitely born into secret society stuff. Like, but he's fulfilling his purpose. He's fulfilling what he's been born and raised for.
I kind of think of it as like, maybe, I don't know if it's planned like that. I think the Lord kind of names people in accordance to things, and then the Lord kind of dictates what is the plan in some regard. And I think he gives people names based on that. Like, that's why you get people like, Anthony Weiner, who end up becoming a, pedo person, right? When you get people like Trump, his last name's Trump, so he's going to take over a bunch of stuff, right? Because he's triumphant or whatever, and he's trumping that.
Well, God is
like, yeah,
God
so
is
he
sovereign, so he allows
exactly.
stuff.
It's like, I think God just kind of gives us like a taste of some of the stuff. Like, I mean, like, all the bad people have bad names.
Well, it's like you want a king. It's like, again, like going back to King Saul. It's like, you really want a king.
Here you go.
Here's your king.
Yeah.
Like, here's the king. Like,
Right,
you guys asked for one. Like, here's your king.
That's exactly right. But like, we live in a world though where, and Brian, I know you know this, we live in a world where witches and warlocks will fast just to curse people. They will fast just to draw power to curse people. They don't like we're talking about people that worship the devil have more discipline than any of your average Christians. Like, most average Christians, they've never fasted. Most average Christians they're not pursuing righteousness in a way where they're disciplining themselves and they're prostrating themselves and they're on their face crying and pleading to Jesus to spare the nation and praying over people. Like, most people that are in the occult, they are so much more disciplined, and one could argue that it's much easier because they
see the results.
They're reaping their reward,
typically.
right? They're reaping the reward. They're getting their power. They're getting their money. They're involved in sex magic. They're involved in all of the things that gratify the flesh. So it's a lot easier for them, one could argue. But regardless, like, that's the world we live in. In my experience and from what I see, the people that are practicing the dark arts are far more disciplined and far more precision based with what they're trying to accomplish with their goals than the vast majority of believers that exist. So it's like, dude, they have spent their entire lives trying to accomplish these purposes. And your average quote unquote Christian, they're just trying to get through the day. Like, they're just trying to make it till tomorrow.
Yeah,
they're not.
The occult side has set their bar higher. I want to play this video real quick. This one is interesting because, again, it goes back to that idea of this is chaos by design.
This second term has been the show is this unimaginable almost to a point where I could almost, if I wanted to get really crazy here, I almost think is it almost chaos by design? Is there an element of this here that is so crazy and so over the top? And are they trying to induce chaos by design? Are they getting ready? You know what I mean? Like, it's so insane that you have to wonder, is there some part of this that they feel is a necessary step to whatever comes next? And I don't know what that is. And I almost don't even want to think about what that could even be. So are we just going to say, hey, how about AI governance? Because, supercomputers and super intelligent beings, whatever, are we going there? Is that the next step? Is the next step like a centralized Putin style, more autocratic step, which involves the AI? It's the digital control grid. And the way to usher people into that is to raise the level of chaos so that people are welcoming of this, because it will be, by comparison, calmer. You'll lose all your rights. You won't be able to say anything. You won't be able to do certain things you used to be able to do.
Thoughts?
The answer is yes to all of that. That is the plan. That is their plan.
It does seem like that. It does seem exactly like that. Yes. Yeah, I agree.
How long has it been since Elon Musk was having that interview with Jordan Peterson, and he talked about our overlord, our digital overlord that he's building in Memphis? It's been a few years, right?
These AI data centers being put everywhere.
Bro, the AI obviously it's Nephilim technology, it's demons, but that are orchestrating it, I think. But the AI is they just did a post, like Congress or something talked about it, that it's become so sentient that it actually, one of the AIs was found a way to, like, out of its own accord, was mining crypto in the background. Like some language model was doing this by itself on its own accord. And in another one, they were trying to build it to do some like hacking thing, and it hacked a bunch of server stuff of its own accord, and totally unrelated to whatever its mission was. And so it's now starting to do things that are just like completely like of its own will now. It's starting to form its own will.
Skynet.
They're in survival mode. They're trying
to Matrix. It's all coming true. Yeah, it's even we were talking about that show Paradise. We were saying that the AI in that show called Alex was answering the most ridiculously difficult question that nobody even asked. Right? Like that's what it says in that show. Is like that. Like, yeah, the real problem is nobody asked that question to it, and it answered it anyways. And then there's weird things that are starting to happen. And so, yeah, I mean, this is clearly like sci-fi movie horror. Like what? Well, like, I mean, it's like it's set up exactly
Literally.
like all the movies we grew up on.
They were warning us all along. I mean, you see it in the movie. You see it in the movies, and it's like, I think they put it in the movies not necessarily like I said, I think it's demonic prophecy. So like when they put that in the movie Artemis, like when you were talking about that, and they put that in the fake movie Artemis, and they named the option of the fake moon mission, and they put it in the movie, you got to ask, you're like, why do they do this? I feel like they do it because you are without excuse, because the people that watch that movie and go Artemis, and then when they hear the Artemis, they're like, what? Because then it's like they can get away with it more, because the Lord's like, dude, you were without excuse. Like, I told you, I warned you, I let them put that out there and show you, and you still looked at it and believed it. You didn't feel that check in your spirit when you heard the name Artemis after you just watched that movie that with the fake moon landing. You didn't think maybe that's not real. Like, come on. Like, the Lord's going to say, you're without excuse. I warned you. I showed you everything right there in front of your face. Like, I feel like that's why it's done that way, and it gives them permission to get away with doing these things even more so. So they put it out there because otherwise it's almost like God will stop it. But when they put it out there and everyone receives it, it's like, what does the Lord say? He says he sent them a false prophet, right? So it's like this is how demonic prophecy works. They're out there prophesying these nonsensical things.
Yeah, the test. The Lord thy God is testing you in a false prophet's amongst
and so
you.
So it's like the Lord allows these things they're out there prophesying these things to come to pass, and then you're seeing it, receiving it, accepting it, and then when they do it, it's like the Lord's like, how did you not see that? I warned you. Like, it was right there. You were prophesied. You were already warned.
Well, it was like last week we were talking about that kids movie Hoppers. So in this movie, they were going to insert your consciousness or your brain into some kind of a robotic animal.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like
terrifying.
The scientist is explaining why it could be dangerous. And before he's even done explaining it, and I think, of course, that could be what like these movies are about. We're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if the trade-off's worth it. it's
That's a
interesting. I want to say
prophecy
that
taking place. That's a demonic prophecy
that
being taken place in front of us.
regardless if this ends with some kind of a AI robotic cataclysm at the end of this, the truth is it doesn't even have to be that drastic. Because I just heard recently like a stat that 20% of jobs have basically lost their jobs to AI now. Which I mean, that might be a low estimate because you just think about all the things that it can do that doesn't require like bean counters and people to do certain jobs. I mean, so that's the thing. It's kind of like that, it's like when we were kids and they said you can't use a calculator in math class because you might be without a calculator one day. Boy, was that a lie. But the truth is, it was good to teach people to be able to do math in their head or on paper or whatever, because it your brain is not really quite a muscle, but it sort of is. It's like everything that God has given us that it is like if you don't use it, you lose it. The things we don't use get weak, and the things that we use get stronger. And so now people don't need to do regular math because they can just ask their computer. They don't have to look anything up anymore. They can just go right to the AI instead of getting a book. And of course, that's why I encourage people, and I know Brian's all in on this, is get old books. Get old books that they won't ever be able, your AI won't be able to tell you about what these old books say. Like read old manuscripts, read old books, obviously read your Bible, read that kind of stuff, because that's the information that's interesting. Because again, you have like an AI that's just pulling from Google, and then we say Google's not really a reliable search engine anymore. So like it's garbage in, garbage out. So like whatever the government says is true, I mean, obviously the AI is just going to be able to regurgitate that out. But you're not even using any kind of your mental faculties to read and absorb information and be able to put it together yourself. You're having something else do it for you. So it's like all the things that make us up to be who we are, like they're taking that from us. They're taking away a lot of people's purpose. It's like the idea that you can take some kind of a drug to get thin or get fit, like, so you're not even getting like the real, like the journey of like getting smarter, getting stronger, getting in shape. Oh, you can just have it right now. Like making a meal instead of just ordering DoorDash, and especially if you're going to get McDonald's, like that's such a waste.
Bro, dude, and they're like relegating us to like the worst jobs. Honestly, it's like we're just going to be all delivery people at this point. And then
ditch stickers,
bro. And then like why don't they get rid of
like the thing is they're not going to be delivery drivers.
Yeah, I know.
Because if you think about it, like that, I mean, Amazon has shown this years ago, and I don't know if they're doing it in any major cities, but they were going to use drones to deliver packages. And obviously all this smart technology where the cars don't have driverless cars, like those jobs are going to go away
and
too.
Now Tesla's dropping out the robots, bro. So like those are coming out now, and they're only like $20,000 or something like that. And so it's like people are going to be buying those. Like, dude, imagine this. Like, why aren't they getting rid of the stupid jobs, by the way? Like insurance, if they got rid of all the workers, bro.
What about, as we started this podcast, what about a real stupid job? I don't know, like the IRS.
Yeah, exactly, right, bro.
What wasn't Trump actually floating the idea he was going to abolish?
He was
the
saying
IRS?
that at one point, and like, bro, and
I'm sure he was, amongst other things that have not come true.
And it's like get rid of them. Get rid of like insurance is such a criminal organization. Like literally, it's just a bunch of people paying a bunch of people to sit in the office to call you to ask you to pay a bunch of people. So it's like it's just
to pay for something that's eventually not going to be covered, and then they fight you when you try to use your insurance to pay for things that you thought the insurance was for.
Somebody build an AI model that just literally takes the calculated risk of all the accidents. And like, bro, insurance companies are the most lucrative businesses. They're so terrible. Like, why do you think they have Geico 3D animated lizard? They're the most expensive commercials, the most expensive they've always been. And it's because they literally make so much money because they overcompensate for their, we got to just make sure we have a little buffer, for whatever problems may arise. And they never.
Health insurance is crazy
so
expensive. And it's not even really worth it. I mean, unfortunately for us, it's like that you got to, if you have a family, you need insurance just in case something horrible happens. But day to day, it's so much money. It's really just for catastrophic care. But you know what? I want to say maybe like a little bit on theme. I had this video that kind of makes sense when you were talking about these people kind of under the spell and they kind of just snap back in. It's kind of like a MK Ultra kind of trigger for certain people. But what I found this interesting, again, almost like I don't know if this can relate to predictive programming or just the repeated phrases in the news, but tell me what you guys think. I thought this is interesting. At least it's a good thought exercise. Okay, see what's happening is somebody put this broom in the doorway, and the first person that walked over it, everybody who walks behind them repeats what's happening. And then this person does this, and everybody behind them starts to repeat that cycle. See, each time they change the way that somebody goes into this room regarding this broom, every time the people behind them continue to repeat that.
Yep. I would just move the broom.
So it's
people are so
I don't
dumb.
know if it's a situation where
somebody just move the broom.
Because it's like, I don't know, it's like inherently we are kind of like sheep.
Yeah.
Right? Even like, like sheep is often used in a very negative connotation today, right? Mostly because it's not because being sheep is bad, because obviously you have a good shepherd like Christ. Well, then he's not a bad shepherd and he's not leading you to like lambs to the slaughter. He cares for his sheep. He's going to leave the 99 to go get the one. But then when you're sheep and you have a bad shepherd, this is why like the meme of the sheep is a bad thing. But we know that we want to be on the side of the sheep and not the goats when the great white judgment comes. Well, but I just think it's interesting, but it does show you like that how easily us as a people can be manipulated by people who know those kind of psychological ways to do that.
Well, yeah, because the reality of it is everyone is assuming that they're not allowed to move that thing, that they're not supposed to move that thing. They're assuming that the first person had more information than them. And that's why they chose to do that. So instead of asking questions, they're just following suit and they're doing exactly what they did. Did you guys ever see the movie Megalopolis? So it's a very strange movie, but there is a scene where Shia LaBeouf, he's like one of the henchmen. There's a scene where he's walking in front of a bunch of people. There's like a lot of like symbolism, like there's a lot of things being said in that movie without using words. But there's a scene where he's walking in this building and he's got like a line of men behind him that follow his orders. And I might get this wrong, but he like grabs his hat and throws it on the ground. And then the guy behind him does that to the guy behind him. And the guy behind him does that to the guy behind him.
Pick up my hat.
Pick up my hat. Pick up my hat.
Like they all treat the other person like crap because they watched their boss treat a guy like crap. It was like the same exact thing. And it was speaking to that. It was speaking to how like we just fall in line, dude. We just repeat what we see. We don't ask questions. We don't just and that's just that's just the way it is, man.
I don't think we were always this way.
People don't ask enough questions.
I honestly don't think we were always this way. I
don't think we were either.
Intelligent people that would like make our own ideas and craft our own way and create our own thing because we used to have to survive. And when you're put in a state of survival, you have to become a weary and aware and creative individual. Like I'm always thinking outside the box of things because, I've been through like the understanding of creativity. Right. And so like I grew up in that sort of space and I'm always I've been in a survivalist kind of mindset as well. So like, I don't think we were always this way. I think humanity's become this way because of the cushy little environment of being taken care of all the time. I think that's what it's come from.
Well, I think what you could be describing too, and like maybe why sometimes we look back at the 80s, like for me, and say it was a different time because we only had access to so much media. Like we only had access to so many people like telling us this is the way things are supposed to be. Like, and again, if your parents are the ones doing it correctly, like you do know there's a lot more possibilities than what they're telling you in government schools or what they're telling you in the movies on TV, especially now with like the internet. And so people see other people doing things and they think that's what I should do, or they think those are the only things possible. And I think I brought this up before. When I was leaving Vegas the last time I was there, I was listening to this. Well, the Uber driver was listening to some kind of motivational speaker, and he was talking about how, like, when you're kids, you have imagination, and that's really what drives you because you don't have any past memories to draw off of. But now people only basically it's like the past is kind of a buffer. It's kind of it's a stumbling block for the future because the things you've seen take place in the past are like the only things you like really believe are possible. And so versus a child who really doesn't know any better, they don't know what's possible and what's impossible. So they might do more. And, like you hear stories all the time about people who accomplish things that they were called crazy for even suggesting that was possible. But now you see like that if you say, okay, so here's the kind of jobs I want, and it's only the things I've seen on TV or, like the invention, like, I don't know, whatever it may be, but it's kind of like kids growing up today and they want to be like the famous people. And so what do? So I want to be like them instead of, the idea of carving out your own path and thinking outside the box. If you really think about it, if you're removed from all, you take all the screens out of your house and you just live, well, like, you know what I mean? Like you're being held back by them. And that's the analogy of like that they're being held back by this dumb broom that's stuck in the door. But if you're the only person in the building, you'd probably do? You would take the broom out of the way. You just move it out of the way. You just kick that thing over. But when you saw these other people, like Aaron said, those people thought, well, the first person who did it must have been told that you're not supposed to move this broom.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, or they're assuming that the first person has rules that they're not aware of. I don't know why I'm wired this way, but that's one of the reasons why I kind of always got in trouble growing up, is because I asked so many questions. Like I needed to understand. Like my parents thought I was being difficult, but it's like, no, I want to understand the rules of engagement. I want to understand like where the perimeter of the room is. Like I need to understand it because I don't know. I think that there's a balance though, right? Because you've got people that ask so many questions. It's like, all right, when are you just going to do the thing?
Right. There is a balance. Sometimes you just need to do what you're told. But again, you got to make sure that you're listening to the right people. But here's another example of this technology that we're seeing, despite its convenience, might not be all that great for us.
We still have DVDs, and people still get them because when they lock this internet up, ain't nobody streaming nothing. Streaming was created for real-time editing. The reason we're all into streaming, the reason why they took the hard drive out of the Apple TV, the reason why they don't want you with content is because they want to be able to alter content. So if you're streaming, it's on their server, not yours. You don't own it. You don't even have it. That's why they sell a computer now, the fastest computer out right now, and the hard drive is tiny. Why you only give me 128 gigabytes? And if you want more, you got to pay thousands of dollars. Absolutely. Why are they doing that? Because they want it in the cloud. Because two things happens if it's in the cloud. One, they have it. And the other thing is, they learn it. Metatron don't know. He's not omniscient. He's not like God or whatever. This demon spirit has to learn. Yeah, so our voices, our images, dude, it's us. We're all cyborgs. There's a digital version of all of us in the hands of the enemy. He's created it from our uploads. He's showing all your birthdays, showing everything you do. He's learning. How else would the devil be omnipresent? He wants to be like God. The internet makes him omnipresent. That's correct.
Yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was telling you guys about, like the network of demons. Like the enemy wants to have the appearance that he's omnipresent, but he's not. It's just a giant network, right? And like Brian knows this. Like, one of the protocols on everyone's computer, if you get right down to like the base files on your installs especially on Windows, is daemon. It's literally ran by a demon, spelled DAEMON. It's like that's like one of the core files.
I want to say, isn't that the way? That's almost identical to the way the Greek
spelling.
Spelled
it's older.
demon.
It's daemon.
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
Yeah, daemons. They're the base.
No, it does
make
a lot of sense that, yeah, for one, I've seen that where they show old shows where they have edited these old TV shows. Like, so whatever you see on the streaming is not actually what the original one was. But yeah, for sure, the interesting thing, a lot of people have been talking about this. We shared a video about this, and I won't do it again. But it was about the idea that Pokemon Go was actually some kind of a 3-letter agency psyop to get mapping of everything. Because they were saying how flawed like actual like GPS is for like using, the Satelloons or whatever. But you're talking about like people are mapping inside back alleys in forests. They're mapping inside their house. And so like this product is not the real product. Like you're the product. Like you're doing all the legwork for this surveillance grid that's going in. And so the other thing that goes along with that is the idea that when you go onto like a lot of websites and you have to prove that you're not a robot, and how you do that is identify bicycles on the street or stoplights or stop signs or buses. And so this is teaching an AI to drive, like a driverless car. So you are helping this thing learn. So to think about it, the idea of all the things that you upload. So you think about like, people like us, obviously we put all this stuff out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, everything. So like people know anyways. But if you think about it, like the way that like a normal person who has an iCloud, like all your videos are getting uploaded to that cloud regardless. So regardless if you post these things publicly, somebody's got that information. And you say, it's kind of like the idea, I guess what they called it, metadata. Where remember like when like the Patriot Act stuff was coming out and they were saying like there's some kind of a computer system that was like listening for trigger words. And if those words were spoken or people from like, different countries were speaking, then it would record certain things. And they said, don't worry, it's fine. Unless you're committed, unless you're a terrorist, you don't have to worry about it. But the truth is, it makes me think that back then they clearly had some kind of AI back then, because how else would you be able to comb through, 1 billion phone calls? So something was doing that. So if you think about it in the same way that people could not, there's not enough people that they hire could scan all your uploads to know what's in there. But you know what could? An AI could. An AI
Yeah,
would,
for sure.
An AI absolutely could. So they could learn so much more about you. I mean, it is pretty scary to think about it, like the idea that we have these deep fakes, we have all these AI programs that can make you look like somebody else. Like we don't even know what's real anymore when we see it on the internet. Like that's fake, that's AI. The AI's video is going to get so good where they can absolutely take your videos and turn you into an AI thing doing something or whatever.
Have you guys seen the movie Mercy with Chris Pratt? So there's a relatively new movie called Mercy on Amazon, and Chris Pratt is in it. And the long and short of it is, it's in the not too distant future. There's an AI courtroom with an AI judge, and the judge give you like X amount of hours to prove, like you only end up in this courtroom if there's like a huge percentage chance that you're guilty. They give you X amount of time to prove that you're not guilty, and you can use all of their AI tools to prove you're not guilty. And everything is based on what's in the cloud. And so the whole thing is like everything that's connected to the cloud, they have access to. Everything. All data points, all cameras, all phones, all messages, all calls, everything that's in the cloud. And so there is a sector of town in this movie that's like, they call it like the gray zone or something like that. And it's like where all of the dissenters, all of the people that don't want to abide by like these rules, they all live. And it's obviously like a crazy high crime area. But then there's like a few factors that come into play. So like
depicted as a crazy, that's the lie they're trying to feed us, is that it's when people separate from all the control systems, that will turn violent.
That it's going to be dangerous.
Total opposite.
Well, it's going to be dangerous, and you're crazy to do it.
Yeah. That's such a lie.
And
we'll go to peace. If the government died right now and every government thing fell apart, we would go into farming communities in peace. Like we would go into a better, peaceful, more a more awesome state. That's what would happen. They want you to believe that we're going to go into chaos. Sorry. Anyways.
No, you're fine. So then like there's another part where there's information. There was a conversation because they're trying to figure out a bunch of stuff. It's actually not a bad watch if you're interested in like the way that they're trying to make things go. But one of the parts, they're trying to get data because there's some information going on with Chris Pratt's wife, and they're trying to figure out what the deal is. And they didn't have the records for some of this stuff because she had a phone that he didn't know about that wasn't connected to the cloud. It's like an off-grid kind of phone. It was something that didn't have internet.
We all need
basically.
burners. We need burners that are not connected to the cloud.
That's kind of what that's kind of what they were getting at. But like, that's the thing that I don't think people have fully comprehended yet. And I think it's because they don't want to comprehend it. And that is that every single device that you have ever used to do anything, if it has ever connected to the internet for even a moment, that data is in a machine.
Somewhere.
That data is in the cloud.
Well,
somewhere. There's a
You
profile.
call it metadata because it's Metatron. He's the demonic spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The way the guy was talking about Metatron. You know what it makes me think of too is that I want to say that they've even openly kind of said this. I think wasn't Palantir one of the things they were talking about?
Yeah.
Almost some kind of a pre-crime type thing,
yeah.
just like the Minority Report with Tom Cruise.
They're
where
telling you guys.
They're going to get you before you do the bad thing. And if they have all your information that's all uploaded to this cloud, they could probably make a pretty solid case, selected in the right kind of order of saying like, you think about all even like your text message threads you might have with your friends and the stuff you've said in there where, nobody really know, like, when we send text to people, an outside person can't really get your tone, like the way you might speak to your friends. And some people get offended by like not understanding like exactly what you meant, like what was your intent by saying this. So if you take just like naked text without much context, you're like, oh my gosh, this person is clearly an anarchist. This person is clearly a danger to society and the government, the way they're speaking. That's dangerous. I mean, like, obviously this is why the Bill of Rights is important, regardless if they ignore it or not. But I mean, like the point is that the government does not have the right to go through all our information because, again, it's like these terms like especially like the term like terrorist. It's really just people that the government doesn't like. If anybody's labeled that, then you remove all kinds of civil rights that we have had. And how easily that we could be prosecuted for things that if they did get to that idea of pre-crime. I mean, that is
Dude, just
terrifying.
imagine.
Minority Report, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Minority
saying.
Report was all
Just
about that.
imagine
that's what I
an
was just saying.
environment, guys, like right now, like where we're headed. Imagine the environment where it's like there's those that don't abide by the narrative, and we're all like out in the forest, like Amish people or something. It's like, and then like, dude, they could totally like if everyone trusts the AI system, they could like, let's say they could go in and like it could get to a point where we try to talk to people and we're like, guys, that's not what it is. Guys, the AI is lying to you. The information hive is a lie. It's lying to you. And then like we just sound like crazy people trying to convince people that like the hive is lying to everyone and everyone believes in this hive. Like, bro, they could like bomb a city, wipe it out, and then use their Google Map AI to like act like it never got decimated. And we're like, no, guys, that city doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. They show videos of it. Here's people playing in the streets.
No, it's totally fine.
Getting
yeah,
coffee.
and you're like, but like when you actually go there, you realize it's not. It's been like totally. That's like what's happening in Gaza and Lebanon right now, and like they're just acting like it's nothing. Like no, that's not happening. Like, oh my gosh, bro! Like this is where we're headed. It's literally going to be like. Oh my god!
The crazy thing though, when you talk about like the people like trying to get off the grid. I mean, have you ever really looked into the story of Waco, Texas,
yes.
and David Koresh?
There was another group of people that did that too. There was the people that were like white something. They were like white supremacists. They were saying or something like.
I think that somebody wanted to have like in Arkansas. I want to say that they wanted to have some kind of a white community there, and of course, you're not allowed to. White people are not allowed to.
You could have a black community.
No, but the point is that just like that, it's not necessarily like. Lots of people will infer motives for this thing that somebody's doing. And so like, if you read this, like, I won't go into too much detail today, but the story that you were told about Waco, Texas and David Koresh is not actually what
Not the
happened
full
there.
story, at least.
Because
Yeah.
what really happened there was like that they wanted you to believe that this was this dangerous cult, but they were not. These people were 7-day Adventists.
They still did.
So they might have some beliefs that we disagree with, but I mean, like overall, like the whole idea that he was Koresh said he was Jesus or something. Like, no, he
Did they,
he
but was
didn't
he
say any of
sleeping
that
with
stuff.
all the women too? I think that there might have been a connection to that.
I think that they tried to imply that, but I don't think that there was. Put
that
it this
may not have
way,
been the case.
a
Who
lot of
knows?
things that were said about what he did versus what anybody could prove that he did are two different
That's
things.
crazy.
And the truth is, a lot of bad things happen there, and the stuff that they did to those people there, where they were using some kind of tactics where they were blasting these, these loudspeakers with like sounds of, like, I want to say when they were sieging this place, of like rabbits being mutilated and things like that, and loud rock music. Of course, the story goes is that they went in there and they just started shooting people and burning the place down. So like the truth is, like, what really happened there, we have no idea, but we know that they didn't do anything to bring the government's boot down on them like that. So I guess the whole point of saying all that was that when somebody tries to break away from all this, again, they can label you anything. And of course, you think about like us, that of course our views, even saying we believe we're in the little season, you could imagine the way that might be interpreted by like a news organization to the mass public of saying what we believed, and the way that you can interpret that to say these people were religious lunatics. And we really just didn't want to be. We really just wanted, like a lot of people, is just to be left alone.
That it's so true. And something even more crazy that I'll mention, that I got to talk to a guy that is German, and I got JT on the phone, who mentioned some stuff about the little season according to the little H man, the little mustache man. And apparently little mustache man also thought we might be in the little season, and was believing some stuff, which, bro, when he told me that, I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, the millennial reign, that's what the Third Reich meant. He meant there was already the reign of Christ. The millennial reign of Christ happened already. And he was like, and he listened to like something like 500 hours of H-Man's speeches, and literally was like, dude, he's like, what they told you is not even remotely true. He was like, he listened to all this stuff, and he talked about the millennial reign of Christ, and he said he wanted to bring back the millennial reign, and like make sure that we have another one, because there was so much degeneracy. Like, and he said we wanted to walk back into that millennial reign, and that's what the Third Reich was supposed to only last 1,000 years, and you don't know why.
Yeah, that was always one of those things with like a dog whistle for me, was like, why 1,000 years? Like, why did he want this Reich to be 1,000 years?
Dude, that's so
it's like
weird.
It's very specific. Like, again, like, why wouldn't you say you want it to be forever? But when you say like there's this 1,000 years after, it's implying that obviously there was 1,000 years before this. That's what I've had that thought before. But yeah, absolutely. I told him when we were talking, maybe this might be a preview for the future. I said, if you can find in those speeches, because I know a lot of the Austrian painters' speeches have been translated into English. That would be pretty epic if we ever got some goods on some of that stuff.
Yeah, it'd be so cool. He's a pretty cool dude. And so like we can't reveal his identity because he can't even talk about it because it's illegal in his country. So
yeah, in Germany you're not allowed to talk about
Austria,
World War II and question it.
So.
Here's another video about, again, how AI can learn things, and could be why certain things have been getting banned, or going out of style.
I used to wonder why they stopped teaching cursive in school, and now I think I'm onto something. So they didn't ban cursive, but they did remove it from the Common Core standards back in 2010, and then schools followed. So like my son's in junior high, he was never taught cursive. So I think it's either one of these. So AI cannot decode cursive. I just found this out. It's one of the only things AI cannot decode. So were they preparing us? Like, were they getting ready for that? Or is it the fact that all of our historical documents, our declaration, it's all in cursive? So is it to like dumb us down, like so the next generation won't be able to really understand the laws or read the laws or know these things, or just to make it harder? Like, it has to do with something, right? Like, they didn't just stop teaching cursive for no reason. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments.
AI will read cursive shortly. Trust me. That ain't gonna be. It's gonna be able to read it. I think it's so like I mean, you just have to teach it to say recognize certain words, recognize patterns of this top of the words, and then you'll be able to read it. So AI is gonna read it shortly.
Cursive is so varied based on somebody's handwriting.
Yeah, but you can. That's why you can say you can look at a certain word and then find a word that you identify the way he writes those certain letters, and then relate that to the other words and see if those words mean certain things.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you're wrong, but it also makes sense that they don't want to work that hard.
Yeah, no.
I mean, if you think about it, like if I got to show AI what a stop sign looks like, well, it might take him a long time to find out what like a Z in cursive looks like because it looks really weird.
Yeah.
You know, by like multiple people writing it.
Yep.
Versus like, you know, the other thing that, you know, of course, just based on like using making PDFs and stuff like that, or like these kind of digital scanners on people's phones now where they can grab text right off of documents and you could like copy and paste it. You couldn't do that if it was all written in cursive.
I get it. I get that it's difficult. I struggle to read cursive. I hate it when people write cursive.
You know, we can test this. I don't know. You guys know with the iPhone, you can take a picture of anything and you can then go into the picture and you can highlight a word or numbers and grab it and copy it out of the picture. Like you could take, like I could take a picture of your camera that says demon erasers, and I should be able to just highlight it and it'll copy the text demon erasers. But we should test it to see if it does that with cursive.
It probably doesn't at this point.
It probably doesn't. Like I said, I don't doubt that the technology either exists or could exist in the near future. Yeah. But it's a situation where they don't want
people.
They don't want to wait for this. They don't want the AI to wait. But it does also make sense.
So we need to start writing in cursive again.
No, it does also make sense that you're going to have like these documents. Yeah, like that. Like as we say, we are going to pour over like old manuscripts and look at old books, and the newer generation is not going to be able to even read them.
That's why they did it. They got rid of cursive because they didn't want newer generation people to understand and read it. They want to. Eventually, the AI will read it, fine, and then when the AI reads it, you just have to trust what the AI says because you can't read it. That's why they did it. That's why they did it. That's my theory, at least, because it's very obvious they don't want us to read the stuff and know our history and know what those things are.
You guys ready to talk about this dumb Artemis stuff again?
There's more dumb Artemis.
Let's do it.
Okay, again, so we're told now that Artemis is back on Earth. Here, I wanted to show you this. I think this is interesting because I hadn't seen this clip. I haven't seen clips of this going around the internet too much. Like by contrast, when supposedly those astronauts were stranded on the International Space Station, right, for like almost a year, we got those really, really picturesque shots of the splashdown with the dolphin pods coming and stuff like that. Have you guys even seen the splashdown, like the actual physical splashdown of the Artemis, like capsule or whatever?
I saw one sort of clip of them like loading it into a bay. That's all I saw.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is the actual footage of the thing splashing down into the ocean.
Yeah. No, let's see it.
Okay, so I went on to I had to go do so. I actually did. See, I think this is the issue. Like, I had to do some actual research to find a clip, like, because I didn't know that one even existed. But I did locate one.
The one that they did last time where the dolphins came out.
Well, I would say no, but it's a situation where I've seen a few people point this out. Is that when you see like remember like the Katy Perry space mission or whatever, when all those women went to space, and they were broadcasting, or at least the clips we saw were in super crystal clear, like at least 1080p, if not 4K video of them doing all the stuff. But have you ever noticed, like, when you see the stuff that you get from Artemis,
it's like old school.
The quality is crap.
Yeah.
The quality is crap. So that's very similar to this, where there is zero reason why you wouldn't have had the best cameras being able to record 100% of this thing falling down into the ocean. But this is what we got. Check this out.
Why is it black and white? What the heck?
It goes back and forth.
Why?
This looks like
Yeah, what is with
1970.
this footage?
Oh my gosh, dude. That thing.
So this is from I recorded this from NASA's YouTube channel.
That thing flew through the Van Allen belt. Look at how flaming hot it is on the bottom.
So, but like you see, like a lot of the cloudy stuff in this video, and it goes back into black and
What the
white.
heck? Is that like trying to show you
Why?
infrared? Is that infrared?
I don't know, but I don't know what's the fire stuff coming off there. Does anyone have a clue?
What the heck?
They're trying to regulate the
So did you see the apparition that just flew by? There's another one.
Dude, what?
What the heck is this?
I think they're trying to implicate that those things are leveling it.
Well, why
But
don't we
it's
see
not
that in
changing.
color then? Like, why are they going in black and white so we can see? Like, I would like to see if it actually shot, if it had engines on
No,
it.
dude. There's only one reason they'd be showing that in black and white, and that's because they couldn't get the CG to look real enough in color.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look how crappy this is. Okay, so this is an overhead shot. No, this looks like
No
AI.
flames there. So they just stopped when it goes color?
Well,
Like, why didn't we have the overhead view from the whole time? Not a ripple in the ocean, right? It just blue as blue can be.
oh my gosh, it's just the lies on top of lies, man. It's just like, why all the fishy, suspicious stuff they do?
Well, like I said, there's no reason to be cutting back and forth between black and white and color. Like, why isn't it all in 4K video? Like, crystal clear. Brian, can you think of one reason, if it's not fake, for them not to have the best video that is possible?
No, I honestly
that.
can't think of anything. Like, I have no clue why they would do that. I'm trying to like give an excuse for why they would, and I can't think of one. Like, I mean, like maybe they were trying to show, maybe that was a heat camera and they were trying to show you that it's hot and that's what it was glowing, and so it looked white. Maybe that's what that was.
It only shot flames when it was in black and white in like some kind of a
What's the
heat
point of the
video or
flames
something.
in the first place? That's just like fire.
right.
It's like pyro.
It's just splashing down.
pyrotechnics.
It's just splashing down into the ocean. It's already got parachutes
Yeah,
to slow
the
it down.
flames ain't helping nothing, dude. It ain't turning nothing. It ain't shifting anything. I think it's just I think it's an effect to just like sell you on the idea that this is high tech. Look at these flame jets, dude. Those flames aren't doing crap. That ain't moving you. I've
While they
built a
show you in
flamethrower,
black and white.
Like, I literally have played with flamethrowers. I know what that does. Those little flames do nothing. Okay, like they do nothing. That was pyrotechnics shot out. Maybe not even. It wasn't even shooting out. But what? Like like a 4-foot flame. Like that wasn't even that big. And that is absolutely nothing. That's not pushing anything. It's not shifting anything. That is like just to tell people, oh, look how real and scientific we are.
Theater.
It's theater.
It's theater.
Those are pyrotechnics.
What-
That's like
like,
that's like what's her
what
name
were the
walking
point
out on
of, like, the
stage with the
inflatable
fireworks coming out. That's what that is. Okay, that's
What's the point of like the inflatable balloons that are on the top of it?
bro. That's carrying it down, sure, but what's the pyrotechnics is just nonsense.
No, but you know what I'm talking about? Like when they show it, like it's got these like 3 or 4 balloon type things, like inflatables that are on top of it. But like the whole thing is floating. The inflatable part is not actually in the water. I'm confused by that.
Well, once they land, it's just kind of like parachuting and catching the wind, I guess. So
Okay, I wanted to show this just for reference. This is what we're talking about. So this was when, gosh, it was like almost a year ago now that the astronauts supposedly came back from the space station.
Nah, bro, you cannot tell me. We are not living in a movie. So after 9 months stranded in space, the two astronauts, Sonny and Butch, they touch down to Earth in a scene so beautiful, it looks AI generated. You can see boats racing to them in the distance, and then SpaceX hits them with the coldest line that they've been waiting 286 days to hear.
Butch, Sonny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
Oh, and just when you think it couldn't get any cooler, they are welcomed by a pod of dolphins. What is this? Now keep in mind, they haven't felt gravity in like nearly a year.
Okay,
You know they had a meeting.
a couple things there. A couple things that we did not see with this new video. Of course, the technology is there to show better video because we just saw it right there. If that was real, which again, we're all skeptical that wasn't just AI. But the one thing that they also did not show when they were coming down to Earth, where is the video from inside the capsule?
Yeah.
It's never shown, dude.
Like, why would, like, we don't care about your dumb floating Nutella or your paste that you eat out of. No one gives a crap about the little stuffed animal that you're trying to knock around. We want to see when you're coming down through what they say, something that is like, how hot is supposedly like the Van Allen belt, like when they're coming back down like through the atmosphere. What do they say was like 20,000 Kelvin, which I heard a Brit talk about that. I have no idea how hot that is, but I'm guessing it's really hot.
I don't remember the temperature, but it's outrageously hot, and they were anticipating that because they had to go through it twice. They're anticipating that it's like a 49-minute travel time.
Yeah, it's like
to get through it. So
it's like 50
for
it's like
almost
50
an hour.
minutes either way.
Correct.
Dude, you gotta be like, dude, I think at a certain point, it's like, it's so ridiculous, like to think that that's even like, dude, I just think of like the person that was making the decision who's used that footage, the one, the Elon one, right, that you just showed. And I know they were sitting there and there was a debate and there was like probably like multiple things presented and it was like a table and it's like maybe Elon himself or some moron at the top was like, that's the one we're going to use. And everybody else was like, wait, that one is the one you're going to use? The one with the dolphins. Yeah, the one with it looks so fake though. Like it looks CGI and people aren't going to think. People aren't going to.
That's how they know it's real.
Yeah. And like, you know, they were like arguing on which clip to use. And this time they're like, hey, last time we used the dolphin clip. We're not using that one again. It was so computer AI generated.
It was a little bit too, that was a little bit too on the
use the more
nose
natural one. Okay, this next time. Like,
Dude,
you know, that's how they're doing this.
Here's what makes the least amount of sense. You got all these influencers on Instagram taking pictures of all of their fancy meals, taking pictures of all their food, showing their, like, they capture everything, dude. Everything they do, they capture a picture of. You're telling me that no one on that vessel took any photos or video from the inside? Like, they can't wait to brag about their photo that they got from inside the window. Dude, come on, man. Like 2026, you're not going to get a selfie standing next to the window with Earth behind you, like, or space behind you. You're not going to have any. There's so many questions. And the one thing, and this is the main thing for me. This will always be the main thing for me. There is no reason, again, in a day and age where we've got cameras up all over the world that are public access running 24/7, there's no reason, other than it not being real, why there isn't footage that exists from the moment they take off to the moment they get into orbit or into space. There's no reason why we don't have one continuous stream
4K,
of footage,
4K.
unedited, uncut, and in 4K,
4K.
dude. Like, there's no reason.
120 frames per second. We want
exactly
the budget they've got. We want to see 4K and 120 frames per second.
On that
we want no
rocket.
distortion in any of the videos, so then there can be no tomfoolery.
Yeah,
so that's the thing. It's like that. A lot of things get blamed on distortion, which I think is a lot of it's valid because a lot of times people say, "Oh, that person just morphed into something else," and you're like, "No, the quality is horrible." But I think that to me is NASA's playbook, though, because this has been my theory for a long time, is that the main reason they have not gone back to the moon is because you could fool people when they had crappy television sets that were black and white back in the 60s. But now everybody has a 70-inch, like high definition screen, or not even that. It's like the screens on these phones show so much detail that when you see that, like what I saw was from the rescue operation, whatever, from the space station, that looked too good, and it makes everyone say that's AI. It doesn't look natural. But what NASA seemed to do was, we're going to go back to the old school playbook of showing the crappiest video possible. So then it's really hard to tell if it's real or not, because you're like, oh, it's real because it looks so bad. But there's no reason for it to look bad. Anyways, let me play a video before we rant on this too much longer.
So they can show us the inside of the capsule for 10 days straight, except for when they're returning to Earth. Free falling at about 25,000 miles an hour, by the way. They don't ever show the inside of the ship on any of the return journeys for any mission. That's because whatever they show us wouldn't look believable. And they're free falling at that speed for several minutes before reaching the water. But you realize at 25,000 miles an hour, you could travel from Massachusetts to California in about 6 minutes. And they were nothing even close to 3,000 miles away when they started filming them free falling. So no, could travel from the east coast of the US to China in 17 minutes at that speed. You think your body could handle that type of speed? Where's the steam coming off the ship when they hit the water? Why would there be no steam at all when they're traveling 10 times faster than a bullet? Why would this rubber not start melting immediately? And there's guys that just go up and start touching it like it wouldn't be one of the hottest things in the world.
We also talked about this being like riding a fireball.
You're just gonna go up and touch this 5-10 minutes later after it lands? Why are these videos so bad always? Like the worst quality ever. Well, it's just a low quality video. That doesn't mean it's fake. Your brain is low quality.
All valid questions. It's the questions we just asked. Yeah. I want to say that they said it was 80 minutes later that they were trying to pull these people out of the capsule. Still, I mean, you're thinking like, this thing was so hot. Also, I was just thinking about it. Again, maybe I just don't understand the physics of it, but if they were going 25,000 miles an hour when they started to enter the Earth's atmosphere, what would really prevent it from how would it slow down that much? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could like, if you think about it, like, imagine you put those parachutes on like the fastest jet in the world, and then you just deployed them. It's like, don't you think that those things will get shredded? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
would
those
that be
things-
enough to slow it down, like little parachutes?
There's no way, dude. There's
Yeah, 25,000 miles an hour.
no steam though. The no steam part is what's absolutely insane. Like, taking all of those factors into consideration, I don't know. I almost feel like the more I talk about this, the dumber I get, because it's just so obvious. It's so obvious. That's what I was trying to tell you on the last podcast. Nothing can change my mind. They are trolling us. The people that are aware, they're doing some of these things just to troll us, just to be like, listen, we already know you guys feel the way you feel. So, you know, they're just going to shove it in our faces, because I don't think that at this point, and I don't want to word curse anybody, but it's very hard to be optimistic about anybody waking up at this point, if they haven't already. You know what I mean? Like, you're either well on your way to waking up and you're almost there, really close. I'm not saying no one else is going to wake up, but like, dude, if you're not awake and aware to the lies and the deceit by now, I mean, unless it's just an age thing, unless you're just too young to understand, right? Unless you're just too young to comprehend some of this stuff because you're busy with life and you're not really paying attention to all these things, and it's just not in your purview right now. I could understand that being a reason why you're not awake. But if you're a grown man or woman and you're not awake to these things, I don't think you're going to. I don't think you're going to see it.
I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic, because I do think that, like, as we talked about last week, that, yeah, there's the cognitive dissonance for the certain people who are, regardless of new information comes into their periphery, they're going to say, nah, I'm going to just stick with what the boomers taught me, or they are a boomer. So they just, we saw them walk on the moon in the 60s. So therefore it happened. Now I kind of wonder like what like the younger generation start to think about this, because, you know, I was like the last generation of like kids who watched, you know, like the Challenger go up. Like they would wheel the TVs into the classrooms. We watch the space shuttle go up.
Yeah,
Isn't it
I
also kind
remember.
of funny to think like back in the 80s, they had like basically a airplane strapped to the rockets, and then that's what they were flying around in. And now they just come back in some kind of little like what happened to the space shuttle model? Like why don't they fly back in and land? Right?
Good
Isn't
question.
that what the space shuttle was supposed to do? The space shuttle was supposed to be like, they don't need the parachute thing anymore, right? Because they had a space shuttle. Whatever. I mean, they don't do it anymore.
These are the questions, JT.
Well, I mean, but that's a question I have. But I imagine there's still a lot of Gen Xers like me who probably still believe this crap because they're probably traumatized by the Challenger thing. And like, no, I saw it. I really felt it when that teacher blew up in there. So maybe those people are a little bit harder to reach. But then you have the kids today, like Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They've never seen a space shuttle go up. They've seen them shooting rockets off, but they've learned what they've learned from TikTok. They've probably learned from people like us, as scary as that sounds, about, yeah, it looks because they look at the video from the 60s and 70s of them walking on the moon and all the goofy stuff, and they say, that looks so stupid. How could anyone believe that? And they look at the boomers and they say, these people, this is why we can't listen to anything you guys say. You guys believe that. So I kind of wonder about that, like that even the stuff, you know, this is a totally different subject, but it's like the idea of like support for Israel, where it was very strong until recently, but like the new generations, they don't have all that conditioning like that we've had. So like the older generations are still stuck in this paradigm of like, this is what we're told. But then this new generation, the only thing they know about Israel is the stuff they don't like, the stuff they see in this happening in Gaza and Lebanon and Iran. They don't like that. So you kind of wonder, like, this next generation, are they buying this?
Yeah.
I think I have hope for them to think that, yeah, they're probably like us, that now they've seen lots of really great video and they understand AI. They use it. So when they see AI, they say, that thing was fake. And they have the same questions as we do, is like they're streamers, and like the video that we do when we go outside is way better than the stuff that a multi-billion-dollar organization like NASA produces for us.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So who knows? I guess I said I think a lot of people are waking up, because it's funny. Like I said, I did share that old video I did about, do you still believe we went to the moon, or does anyone still believe we went to the moon? And so many kind of older people in my comments, you know, this is not throwing shade at the boomers. There's some good ones out there. There's good ones in every generation. There's lots of bad ones in everyone too. But a lot of them, I see older people in the comments saying like, yeah, this is a joke that we believed this for so long. So there's a lot of people waking up.
My parents are in their 70s and they're still learning. Like they're still understanding stuff. My mom will forward me stuff sometimes and I'm like, whoa, you know this? Like you understand this stuff? You're awake to this stuff? So yeah, I'm not saying that no one will. I'm not saying no one can. It's just, it's all there, man. It's all there for everyone to see. And this mission, more than almost, I don't know, dude, everything about this mission from the very start. I mean, we didn't even talk about how two of the people, maybe you did in one of your other podcasts, but two of the people on it are literally actors. Like they were in movies.
Well, the one, you know what? I'll push back a little bit. The one guy who's like the, what was his name? Glover, the black guy astronaut. Somebody was saying he was in Fallout, but it just kind of looks like him. But the woman, was it Christina Koch or something? Yeah, she was in Mad Max Fury Road. So she was an actor recently. And I want to say that, was it Duffy, who's like the director, you know, the acting director? Like literally he's called the acting director of NASA. And he said that the astronauts were straight out of central casting.
Exactly. Speaking of which, did you watch, and then we can transition to another topic if you want, but did you watch Fly Me to the Moon?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
How about that final line?
What are you talking about when Woody Harrelson, when he's watching the video and he says, "Man, it looks fake."
No, so there was a lot of zingers in that movie, but Scarlett Johansson, the last thing she asks Woody Harrelson's character is, "Are aliens real?"
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
And he looks at her and he says, "They walk among us."
Yeah.
And like, he wasn't being jokey, he didn't have a smile on his face, like he was just telling her like, "They walk among us." And I'm like, yeah, they do. They do, because aliens aren't what people think they are.
Right, yeah, it's a revelation of the method in a different kind of way that, again, they've been kind of slowly changing the idea of what an alien is anyways. Because it is kind of funny to think that in all the NASA stuff they do, they don't really ever talk about like what we probably imagined back in the 80s of them discovering inhabited worlds, finding life on Mars. Like, they really don't ever talk about stuff like that. Why don't they? Because the idea
Good question.
of Martians is dumb. It's really stupid. It's really stupid because in biblical cosmology, obviously, it makes no sense. This is some kind of a star. It's some kind of a cosmic entity in the firmament. It could be its own. It could be its own singular entity that is an angel or a fallen angel, or regardless, it's a light in the sky. So to suggest that there are sentient beings living on that, inhabiting it, is dumb. And they don't even try to push that line anymore. So yeah, now it comes
really
back
don't.
down to like the idea that these are interdimensional entities. Which, if you don't see that sounds exactly like a demon or an angel, like I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. Did you say you had Statue of Liberty content?
No, you were saying that you had a video about the Statue of Liberty. You want to transition to that?
I do.
And we'll
Yeah.
for the end to close this out.
Yeah, so hopefully this makes the YouTube cut. This is a bit it's a bit heavy, I'm not going to lie. I this is something I'd never heard of before, something I've never seen before, and it made sense, but I was just like, I don't know, hold on to your seats, I guess.
L'Island era orribile. L'intero posto puzzava di carne, come a mattatoio. C'erano anche uccelli morti ovunque, e mia sorella ne trovò persino uno nel gabinetto. Se già la posta è così, diceva mio padre, immaginate quanto puzzeranno le città. Ricordo di aver sentito altre famiglie dire quasi scherzosamente che volessero tornare a Milano per via dell'odore. La mia famiglia aveva spruzzato profumo e acceso candele per tenere lontano il fedore, ma funzionava solo per un'ora o giù di lì, finché l'aria diventava di nuovo insopportabile. Le serate erano così calde. Rimasi per lo più sveglia, anche se il resto della mia famiglia dormiva profondamente. Ricordo che guardavo fuori dalla finestra ogni notte e vedevo figli di persone che venivano condotte alla Statua della Libertà dai funzionari. Se solo fossero saliti sul piedistallo, i funzionari se ne sarebbero andati e non sarebbe successo nient'altro. La mattina seguente però ci sarebbe stato un odore peggiore, come un mattatoio.
So the implication that there was some kind of a sacrifice thing happening under the Statue of Liberty?
The implication is that they installed some kind of an engine, some kind of a motor that basically like a grinder, and they would bring people to that thing as a sacrifice and grind them up and leave their remains. Who knows what they did with the blood? Your guess is good as mine. And leave their remains
a big
in there.
tank under there. Now, the one thing that makes me skeptical of some of that stuff is because I do wonder how much of what we see of the Statue of Liberty was there before that they ever put a statue up there. Like that the idea that the island's a star fort and the pedestal looks, it's like the pedestal looks older than the statue does.
Right.
I guess the truth be told, though, that it still does look like it's built for a statue to be on it. So the Statue of Liberty that's on there now could have been after the fact that there was something else on top of that before.
Yeah, it could have been, and they could have also built something bigger around it, right?
Right.
Like they could have changed it at any point in time. But the only reason I shared that isn't because I necessarily think it's true, but I've never heard that argument.
No, I've never heard that either.
I've never heard that.
Unfortunately, Brian had to go, but he would have all been. I think Brian would have found the idea that it was some kind of sacrifice ritual idea compelling to him.
Well, it makes sense based on everything that we know or everything we believe about that statue. It makes sense. And so my only thing is, and I didn't have time to vet this. I just saw that last night, but I would want to figure out because those sound like authentic recordings. So those sound like old authentic recordings. I mean, you heard how staticky they were. And I would want to look up those plan numbers and those codes to see if those plans and stuff actually exist, because if they do, then that's pretty insane. And did they stop doing that at some point? Do they still do it? Do people still are there reports of people still smelling horrible things around there? I don't know enough about it to make any assumptions as to whether it's true or not, but that raises a lot of questions.
If you think about it, back when you had all these immigrants coming over in ships to New York City, who would have really knew who got on those boats and who didn't get off them?
Completely, dude. They had complete secret. They could have gotten away with murder.
Yeah, it would have been very tough to be able to catalog. Just think about the whole operation of what they did, I guess, on Ellis Island. I guess that's where they came off. I guess Liberty Island's where the Statue of Liberty is, but I guess they're pretty close to the same. They're in the same vicinity. What a massive operation it would have been to get people off on a boat and check them all in and check them for a disease and everything. That would have been a ridiculous amount of man hours and people doing that.
Oh yeah, dude.
But yeah, if some went missing, how would they know? And of course, if there's any truth to any of that stuff, the one thing it does make me think of is the idea that those old Moloch type statues, it's like a kind of a brazen looking bull. And if you guys don't know anything about this, sorry, trigger warning. What they would do, the thing had a furnace in its belly, and they would heat this thing up, and its hands would be, the whole thing's made of brass or some kind of metal, and the hands would get so hot, and people would put their babies up on the hands, and obviously it would be enough to cook them. So the point is that, you have this statue that's, made of copper or something? Is that what the Statue of Liberty is made of?
The Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, I think it's made of copper.
I don't know.
Anyways, it's got a torch in its hand. And if there is some kind of a connection with this thing being a different version of that, because, a lot of people think Moloch is a owl. Moloch's not an owl. Moloch is a bull, just like Baal's a bull, like Beelzebul. They're almost all these these Mesopotamian deities are all associated with bulls. And again, that's why you see like the devil has horns, because they're associated with bulls. It even talks about in Psalm 22 when it's talking about how Jesus on the cross, that the bulls of Bashan are encircling around him. Where it's like this is obviously the principalities are represented by bulls. Now Moloch, or the reason why people get confused about the owl thing is because you have the owl at in Bohemian Grove. You have that ceremony called the cremation of care, which is, again, sounds a lot like that. But the owl is the Minerval owl. So the owl is associated with Minerva, a feminine deity, which of course kind of makes sense here too. But yeah, so that's like more of like a sign of like the Illuminati, because owls are like night creatures and they're supposed to be wise and all this kind of stuff. And also they are scavengers and they eat dead things. No, but all that being said, that maybe that there's some association with this thing being a ritualistic thing. And of course, if it is a symbol of Satan out of the pit, well, I mean, these demons require blood.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Did you want to end? You want to end on a palate cleanser, a nice, funny, like something that I know will make you laugh?
I got my own palate cleanser. I think this is a good one because we talk so much about fallen angels and the devil and his angels. Here's an idea of maybe when guardian angels could step in the way and could actually do some good for us. Yeah, check this out. Did you like that?
Yeah. You know, that's we had a conversation, it's been a while now, where we talked about how like the darkness only has the power that we give it. And that's why I think, and we talked about, we talked kind of about that on the Afterglow last week. And it's like, we forget that like our Heavenly Father is in control sometimes because we focus so much on the darkness. We focus so much on the negativity. We focus so much on, the strongholds and the territories that the darkness has in this world, which, yes, they are real, but like, he's got it in control. He's got a grip on it all. There's still protection. There's still supernatural protection. He's still sending his angels to do things we can't fathom. And we have to remember that. And that was a funny example of that. But like, you look at some of those situations and dude, sometimes there's no other way to explain it. Like I've seen things that happened. There's a video out there where there's like an accident getting ready to take place. And then like someone comes out of absolutely nowhere and like grabs this person out of an intersection and moves them just a couple of feet and they don't get hit by something.
Yeah.
And they literally appeared out of thin air. And so, he's still the God of miracles. He's still got complete control over everything. And we can't lose sight of that. There's still hope, there's still hope in every situation.
Right. Yeah. You think about it, like the story goes in the Bible is that a third of the angels fell. That means 2/3 have not fallen.
Exactly correct.
We still answer to the Most High. And we do know that the Holy Spirit is more powerful than any angel, any spirit. That's the most powerful spirit. So as Christians, we know that the same power that rose Christ from the dead lives in us.
Amen.
So I guess the thing is like that. Yeah. How do miracles happen? Is it a situation where like there's an angel that's actually there, but you can't see them, or actually interceding that God had sent to do these things? Like, cause like how can things manifest physically? Like we just don't know. Like we just know a miracle happened. And have you ever had a situation where like you you're late for something because you forgot something, and you find out like that there was a wreck like down the road. Like if you
absolutely,
like, yeah, I had a similar situation in this where I think I was coming back from went to like the amusement park with the kids, and I took the wrong exit or something, and then I got back on, and yeah, sure enough, there was a massive wreck on the interstate. Right, like it likely would have been right around when, who knows if I would have been involved in it, but it was a situation where like you do have to wonder, like, yeah, sometimes like, did I really, like, why did I make that decision? Like a trip I've done a long time, like I don't know, like why I would have went the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like that, there's no reason like I would have forgot, but like I did, took the wrong exit or took the wrong entrance to the interstate, and it delayed me enough to not involve me in this accident with my family.
1,000,000%. Yeah, I've been within seconds of death many times, and he saved me in various ways. I've also had experiences too where I was on my way to do something, or I had plans to do something, and at the last second, like there was one instance where I had purchased tickets to go to an event. I literally got there, was getting ready to pull up into the place and park, and dude, the Holy Spirit just gave me this feeling. I'm like, I shouldn't be here. I don't belong here. Like I literally should not be here. I don't know what ended up happening that night, but I turned around and took off. I turned around and left, and there was no rhyme or reason. Like I had no hesitation. I was excited to go until that very moment. And so, yeah, dude, he's still, that's an amazing way to see it. Cause that is the facts. 2/3 of the angels didn't fall.
Yeah. And they
And
they still
at his
do
command.
what God requires them to do.
That's exactly right.
So that's the thing. It's like the light is not overcome by the darkness. The darkness is overcome by the light.
Period.
Like, darkness can do nothing when light's involved. It has to shrink away. So yeah, that's a good way. I think that's a good way to leave it, because we did talk about a lot of things. Of course, as we mentioned before, that our authorities, the governments that are over us, Caesar, like they would have no authority if it wasn't given to them by heaven. So that makes us as Christians know that our God is sovereign. He's got his providence, and he's got his plan works despite the best laid plans of the enemy. So that's why we should not lose hope in these kind of situations, because as bleak as things look, it's like God is in charge. God is in control.
Amen.
And if we believe that, then we won't be all down in the dumps, despite all the evil and all the stuff that doesn't make sense, and including tax day. But
whatever is true, whatever is righteous, whatever is holy, think upon these things, right? I'm paraphrasing, but we have to remember that.
Amen.
We have to think upon the things that are righteous and holy, because they're abundant.
Amen, brother. Well, anyways, guys, on that note, we're going to leave it there on an uplifting message. We love you guys. And if you guys want to support this podcast, a great way to do it is to watch these episodes early and uncensored over on my Patreon. And also, if you guys want to support this podcast in a different way, please check out the sponsor of this podcast, Modern Roots Life. Get yourself healthy and support a great Christian-owned company. Also, if you'd like a t-shirt, I got to get some new merch. But yeah, Brian's got his new Hello Operator, Can I Talk to the Moon? And also, of course, we got the Jesus Said There Be Haters shirt in stock. Also, if you guys are looking for coaching for social media, please check out the Echoes of Truth Network. Aaron and I are personally coaching a great squad of people, and we'd love to have you join if you guys are willing. Either way, regardless if you can support the podcast by no other way than just watching and listening, I appreciate you guys. And I hope if you watch till the end, please like, share, and subscribe. And I love you guys. See you next time.
JT's mixtape, now a show about history, faith, and truth, with the sound and the conversation we've never heard before. JT's mixtape, now there's a podcast that has exactly what we've been looking for all of us who will not compromise. Listen, JT created mixtape for us. Woo!